Okay, everyone, here we go. We are going to, well, first of all, you guys are going to take a paper and pencil or notebook and pencil out and follow along with me with these notes. All right? So, these notes are called, right, complex numbers simplified part 2. All right? So, the key things that we need to know, right? The key things that we need to know are, the first key thing we need to know is we're going to use our imaginary key to do this work, right? Second thing we need to know is we're going to simplify down, okay? Now this is new work to most of us. If you're familiar with this, then fine. But I want you to follow the steps exactly the way that I follow these steps. All right? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate each term here. All right? So 3i to the 87th, I'm going to write as 3 times I to the 87. Okay? Then I'm going to draw a line. Okay? Draw a line just like that, and I'm going to separate 9 times I to the 32nd. Okay, so there's 2 terms here. So we're dealing with 2 here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 87 and I'm going to multiply, and I'm going to divide by 4, like I've been doing, right? 4 into 8 goes 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Bring down my 7. 4 goes into 7 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. So this 3 here is my new exponent. So this I to the 87 has become I to the power of 3. Right? I got that from my exponent, from this exponent right here. And using my imaginary key, I know that I to the power of 3 is negative I. Okay? Now, this 3 times is going to come down here and is going to be next to negative I. So I'm going to get 3 times negative I. 3 times negative I is negative 3i. Okay? That's my first part. That's my first part of the solution. Okay? So I took care of this. I took care of that. Of my first term. Actually, let me do this in a different color. Right? So I could differentiate. Okay? 9 times I to the 32nd. So I'm going to do the same exact steps that I did for this side. Okay? I'm going to take 32 and I'm going to divide 32 by 4. Okay? I'm lucky here because 4 cannot go into 3 and 4 goes into 32 8 times exactly. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 minus 32 is 0. So this is my remainder. That's the new exponent to my new I. So this becomes I to the power of 0. I to the power of 0 is 1. This 3 times is going to come down here. 9 times? It's going to come down here and is going to be next to 1. 9 times. 9 times 1 is 9. And that's my second part of the solution. So now what I want to do is I want to bring my 2 solutions together and put them together. Kind of like a puzzle. Put the puzzle together, right? But let's not forget that it wants it. The question is It wants it to be in a plus bi form. A is a regular number. Bi is the imaginary number. So in this case, 9 is my regular number, and negative 3i is my imaginary number. So when I write these two together, I get 9 minus 3i. And that is my final solution for that problem. Okay? Again, you have to follow the order. If you maintain the order, everybody, you will get this correct. Yes, it takes time, but you will get it correct. Okay? Please rewind if you have to make sure that you're on the right track. Okay? So let's do the second one. If you notice, this one has 3 terms. So we're going to do 3 separations. So I'm going to start with 7 times negative 7 times I to the 26. Okay? I'm going to separate that. Next, I'm going to pick a different color here, and I'm going to say I to the 74th. Let me write a better I here. I to the 74th. It's got no number in front of it, so don't worry about it. Okay? I'm going to separate that. And negative 2 times I to the 31st. Okay? So 3 separate regions. Okay? So I'm going to do my first number here, 26. I'm going to divide 26 by 4. 4 cannot go into 2. 4 goes into 26 6 times. 4 times 6 is 24. 26 minus 24 is 2. This is my new exponent. That is my new exponent. So my I to the 26 becomes I squared. And if I use my imaginary key, I to the power of 2 is negative 1. So now I'm going to bring this negative 7 times, nothing happened to it, and I'm going to put it next to negative 1. Negative 7 times. And what is negative 7 times negative 1? Positive 7. This is my solution for my first part. All right, okay. I did my first part now. Now I'm going to do my second part. I to the 74. So I'm going to take 74 and I'm going to divide it by 4. 4 goes into 7 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Bring down my 4. 4 goes into 34 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32. 34 minus 32 is 2. This is my new exponent. So this I-74 becomes I to the power of 2. And what is I to the power of 2 in our imaginary key? Right? It's negative 1. So this becomes negative 1. So this is my simplification of my second part of this problem. So I have one part done, second part done. Now I need to do my third part, right? So let's do my third part. So again, I'm going to take 31 and I'm going to divide it by 4, right? 4 cannot go into 3, but 4 goes into 31 without going over 7 times. 4 times 7 is 28. 31 minus 28 is 3. So this is my new remainder, right? So I'm going to rewrite I to the 31 as I to the power of 3. And if I use my imaginary key, I to the power of 3 is negative I. Now, this negative 2 times is going to come down here next to this negative I. So, negative 2 times. So, negative 2 times negative I, negative times negative is a positive. 2 times I is 2I. So I get 2I. So this is my solution for my third part. So, remember, my answer has to be in A plus BI form. A means regular numbers first. BI means imaginary numbers, numbers with I, second. So, do I have any regular numbers here? I do. Negative 1 is a regular number. So, I'm going to write that first. Negative 1. Now, my imaginary number. Wait. I also have 7 here. So, actually, you know what? Let me rewind here. I'm going to write 7 first, because it's bigger than negative 1. So 7 first. Then I'm going to write negative 1 second. Those are my regular numbers. And now my imaginary number is a positive 2I plus 2I. Let me draw a better I. And what's great is, look, 7 minus 1, I can reduce. 7 minus 1 is 6. And then I bring down my 2I. And this is my simplification of all of that. Yep, a lot of work, I know. I know it's a lot of work. But if you do it in order, leave yourself space, right? Maybe half a page. Then you will be okay, right? Then you will be okay, I promise. Finally, one last beast here. Look at this. Actually, you know what? We're going to stop here. We're going to stop here. No, never mind. Let's take on the challenge here, right? So we have 4 terms now here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 terms. So let's do this in order, right? Let's do this in order. Let's use these colors now. So I'm going to say 10 times I to the power of 37, right? And I'm going to separate. Okay. Next, I'm going to do negative 11 times I to the power of 43. Okay. And I'm going to separate. This one's going to go all the way down. Okay. Next, I'm going to do 3 times I to the power of 8. Okay. And I'm going to, nope, wrong color. Separate. I can draw a better line than that. Like that. Finally, I'm going to do 10 times I to the power of 90. Right? 10I times I to the power of 90. So here we are, guys. We are knee-deep into Algebra 2 stuff. But we got this. Don't worry. We got this. Okay? So first I'm going to take 37. And I'm going to divide it by 4, right? 4 cannot go into 3. 4 goes into 37 9 times. 4 times 9 is not 6, 36. 37 minus 36 is 1. So this is my new exponent for my new I. So this is going to become I to the power of 1. Well, in my imaginary key, I to the power of 1 is just I. My 10 times comes down. 10 times I is equal to 10I. Okay? That's my first solution to my first section. Okay? Let's do our second section here. So I'm going to take 43 and I'm going to divide it by 4. 4 into 4 goes once. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down my 3. 4 into 3 goes 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. So my new I is going to be, this is my remainder, my new I is going to be I to the power of 3. Well, using my imaginary key, I know that I to the power of 3 is negative I. I'm going to bring down my negative 11 times. Okay. A negative times a negative is a positive. 11 times I is 11I. And that is my solution to my second part there. Okay? Two parts down. Okay? Again, I'm going to take my 8 and I'm going to divide it by 4. 4 into 8 goes 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. This is my remainder. That is my new I. So I to the 0. I know that I to the 0 or anything to the 0 is just 1. And I bring down my 3 times. 3 times 1 is just 3. Look at that. I have my third part done. Finally, we're going to do our fourth part. So 90. So I'm going to take 90 and I'm going to divide it by 4. 4 goes into 9 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down my 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. So this is my remainder. Right? So my remainder, my new I, is going to be I to the power of 2. And I know from my imaginary key that I to the power of 2 is negative 1. And I'm going to bring down my 10 times, right? This one here comes down. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. There you go. That is my solution there. So let's put together our 4 parts. Remember, regular numbers first. So my first regular number is 3. So I'm going to write 3 here. My next regular number is negative 10. So I'm going to write negative 10. That, okay. Now my imaginary numbers, I have a positive 10i, so I'm going to say plus 10i. And finally, I have a positive 11i, plus 11i, just like that. So I notice that these two are like terms and these two are like terms. A positive 3 and a negative 10 are not the same signs, so 10 minus 3 is 7. And it's a negative 7 because 10 is a negative and 10 is bigger. And then these two, 10i plus 11i, is a positive 21i. And there you go. Look at that. We knocked out the 4-parter. Right? There we go. These are our notes for Complex Number Simplified Part 2.